Give thanks. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for you and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Everybody repeat after me. Everybody say, hi, ya, 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 ya. Hi, ya, 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 ya. Oh, oh, oh. Hi, ya, 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 ya. Hi, ya, 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 ya. Oh, oh. No more living small, no more giving just a little, no more being shy, no more staying in the middle. We about to take flight, so you better hold on. Flying through the night, put your night vision on. With the eye of the eagle, the heart of a lion, the wings of an angel to keep me flying. Light as a feather, cause I smile every day. The love in my heart, I give it away. Places we will go, things that we will see. Heaven only knows all that we will be. See the magic that you have. If you only knew who you really are, the things that you could do. Mother, Father, God, ancestors, spirit guides, all forces of light and love, we call on you, Great Spirit. We thank you for coming to us and through us in this moment right here. We ask that you guide us and protect us and help us to remember and recall who we are and who we was born to be. In this hour that we stand right in between the middle of the best of times and the worst of times, what I know is that we are right on time. What I know is that we were built for this, right here and right now, that we were the ones that they've been waiting for. Ashe? We can't do it alone. Understand that it is the unseen world that controls the seen world. Seen? Ashe? And so we give thanks. We give thanks for the earth, for water, for air, for fire. We give thanks. We prepare to pour libation to honor those who have come before us, who have made a way, who have cleared a path. By pouring this water back into the earth, we acknowledge the sacred continuum of life. In the African tradition, there is no death, there is life, and there is rebirth. Ashe? We honor our ancient African ancestors, the mothers and fathers of civilization, the creators of math, science, medicine, astronomy, language, art, music, and philosophy, the spiritual systems, literature, architecture, agriculture. We honor the high priests, the great kings and queens, the warriors, the magic makers, the shapeshifters, the storytellers, the artists, the scholars, the builders, the conceivers, the healers. Ashe? For those ancestors who continue to protect us and empower us from the other side. Those that, despite the continuous assault on their humanity, continue to smile and laugh and create and seek freedom and justice and joy to make a better way for their people. We say Ashe. So we prepare to call on the names, and we pour the water, and as the names are called, we say Ashe. Ashe. We call on the spirit and the energy of Ma'at. Ashe. We call on Imhotep. Ashe. We call on Queen Tai and Ramses II. Ashe. We call on Queen Candace and Akhenaten. Ashe. We call on Queen Amina and Queen Ya Asantua. We call on Shaka Zulu and Queen Nzinga. We call on Dandara and Zumbi of the Quilombos. We call on Sitting Bull and Sarah Winnemucca. Ashe. We call on Denmark Vesey and Nat Turner. We call on Toussaint Louverture. We call on Nani and Kojo of the Maroons. We call on Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth. We call on Ida B. Wells, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba. We call on Marcus Garvey. We call on Haile Selassie. We call on Dr. George Washington Carver, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, Ella Baker, Mary McLeod Bethune. We call on Dr. John Henry Clark. We call on Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop. We call on Rosa Parks. We call on Fannie Lou Hamer, Che Guevara, and Cesar Chavez. We call on James Baldwin, Bob Marley, Fela Kuti, Nina Simone. We call on Muhammad Ali. We call on Dr. Maya Angelou. We call on my father, Baba Dick Gregory. We call on Kwame Ture and Huey P. Newton. We call on Toni Morrison, Nelson Mandela, Winnie Mandela, Nazir Banat, Shireen Abu Akleh. We call on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We call on Coretta Scott King. We call on Medgar Evers. We call on Dr. Betty Shabazz. And lastly, we honor the warrior, the master teacher, the truth teller, and the liberator, our shining black prince, El-Hajj, Malik, El-Shabazz. We thank you, great ancestor, Baba Malcom X. Because of you, we are. And now, before we close, call out the names of your ancestors and our grandcestors. Call out the names. Call them in the room. Call them into the room. Bring them into the space. Call out the names. Call out the names. Ashe. 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 To all of those light spirits, known and unknown, who continue to protect us from the other side, everybody raise both their hands. Raise both of your hands to the heavens. We are eternally grateful. We thank you. We call on you. We are forever inextricably tied to you. Everybody together. Ashe. 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 I thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. God bless you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum. Everybody is here. Mr. Moderator, as many of you know, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, when it was announced that our friends and our enemies. Everybody is here. As many of you know, last March, when it was announced that I was no longer in the Black Muslim movement, it was pointed out that it was my intention to work among the 22 million non-Muslim Afro-Americans and to try and form some type of organization or create a situation where the young people, our young people, the students and others, could study the problems of our people for a period of time and then come up with a new analysis and give us some new ideas and some new suggestions as to how to approach a problem that too many other people had been playing around with for too long. And that we would have some kind of meeting and determine at a later date whether to form a black nationalist party or a black nationalist army. There have been many of our people across the country from all walks of life who have taken it upon themselves to try and pool their ideas and to come up with some kind of solution to the problem that confronts all of our people. And tonight we are here to try and get an understanding of what it is they've come up with. Also, recently, when I was blessed to make a trip or a pilgrimage, a religious pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, where I met many people from all over the world, plus spent many weeks in Africa, trying to broaden my own scope and get more of an open mind to look at the problem as it actually is. One of the things that I realized, and I realized this even before going over there, was that our African brothers have gained their independence faster than you and I here in America have. They've also gained recognition and respect as human beings much faster than you and I. Just 10 years ago on the African continent, our people were colonized. They were suffering all forms of colonization, oppression, exploitation, degradation, humiliation, discrimination, and every other kind of Asian. And in a short time, they have gained more independence, more recognition, more respect as human beings than you and I have. And you and I live in a country which is supposed to be the citadel of education, freedom, justice, democracy, and all of those other pretty sounding words. So it was our intention to try and find out what was our African brothers doing to get results so that you and I could study what they had done and perhaps gain from that study or benefit from their experiences. And my traveling over there was designed to help to find out how. One of the first things that the independent African nations did was to form an organization called the Organization of African Unity. The purpose of our organization of Afro-American Unity, which has the same aim and objective, to fight whoever gets in our way. To bring about the complete independence of people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, and first here in the United States, and bring about
daughter of Malcom X and Dr. El-Shabazz, Dr. El-Shabazz.
You know, I just want to say that it was during that time that we thought we were Negroes, right? And we had no idea that we had any relation to Africa. And when we think about what Africa was, it was the portrayal of Tarzan and people running around in the jungle who couldn't speak, you know, and so Malcolm broadened our minds. And so I have to say that I am so happy this evening. We have an amazing team working with us. I am so grateful to DigiGeeks, to Stephanie Cruz. I love you. To Jen Reeves, I love you. To Isisara Bay, I love you. Claudia Hayden, I love you. I love all of you guys. I am so grateful to you. To our board, Curtis Archer, Dr. Regina Jackson, I love you. My sister, thank you for joining our board. I am so grateful for this incredible team. Ayanna Gregory, she's the daughter of Dick Gregory. She brought it. Thank you so much, Candace Sandy, thank you. And you're gonna see so many phenomenal individuals who are extending their support so that we can carry on these the legacy of Malcolm, of Betty, of our foreparents. This evening, we remember our ancestors, our elders, our foremothers, and our forefathers. We remember the legacy of Malcolm X. I am one of 6 daughters. And my father was 6'5" almost, and my mother was 5'9". They were tall, and they had tall, opinionated daughters. And so if my sisters thought that I was up here and you thought I was, this is it, this is just the only daughter, I'd never hear the end of it. So I love my sisters so much, and it is why we continue to do this work. I, along with my 5 sisters, Atala, Kabila, Gamila, Malika, and Malik, it is an honor to welcome you here to the Malcom X and Dr. El-Shabazz Memorial and Educational Center. Thanks to the perseverance of his wife and our remarkable mother, Dr. El-Shabazz, the Malcom X Memorial Center was established to preserve her husband's memory and legacy because she had safeguarded her husband's legacy for so long. The Malcolm that we learned about, we discovered in our maturity, was not the Malcolm in his truth. And so we are grateful to Dr. Shabazz. And though she did not live long enough to witness the completion of this space, her name and work are intimately interwoven with the center. Thank you. My parents' young lives were filled with joys, and they were filled with challenges. And 1 week before my father's assassination, our family home was targeted. A firebomb was thrown into the nursery where my sisters and I slept as babies. History records that we escaped unharmed, yet a mere 7 days later, my family witnessed the unimaginable. Our father was gunned down as he prepared to speak right here in that location. My pregnant mother placed her body over my 3 sisters and me to protect us from gunfire and to shield us from the terror before our eyes. Despite the devastating tragedy, I don't have the last page of my paper, Yvonne. A young Sister Betty found the incredible strength to persevere, and rather allow bitterness and despair to consume her. She challenged that grief into action. And so we are very, very grateful that we could have this space for you. And we hope that you will continue to support us so that we can support you. Thank you.
Good evening, family. My name is Mark Lamont Hill, and it is an honor to once again be here with you all for this 59th annual commemoration of El-Hajj and Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X. This is the anniversary of his death, this very room. And so it is fitting that we remember him. It's fitting that we speak his name. It is fitting that we uplift his legacy right here in Harlem, the place that he loved and the place that loved him. But this isn't just the place where we remember our dear hero, our fallen ancestor. It's also the house that Dr. Betty built. Can we show some love to Dr. Betty? This place only exists from her vision. And so tonight, as we commemorate the tragic passing of Malcolm X, we also remember the extraordinary legacy and commitment and vision of Dr. Betty Shabazz. And those two people together as grassroots organizers had a grand vision, a vision of uplifting our people. You're going to see a lot of people here tonight who are going to come to the podium, and they are also committed to uplifting our people. Every single person who comes up here tonight is somebody who uplifts our people, who exemplifies the best of our tradition, who holds on to the values of Dr. Betty and Malcolm X. And if they ain't up here, even if you thought they was going to be up here, it's a reason why they ain't up here. That's all I got to say about that. Our first award goes to an executive of an arts organization that has risen up as a strong supporter of the Shabazz Center and of the memory of Malcolm X and of our culture. The Metropolitan Opera, founded in 1833 and under the direction of Peter Gelb since 2006, brought Black history and culture to the fore with the restaging last fall of the opera X, The Life and Times of Malcolm X by Anthony Davis, a masterpiece, by the way. Before we call our awardee to the stage, though, let's enjoy the dynamic voice of Lindemann Young. Excuse me. Let's enjoy the dynamic voice of Brittany Olivia Logan. Forgive me, Brittany. You need accompaniment? You got, okay, all right.
Maybe if we do an encore.
Oh, I got you. Give that sister another round of applause. Marcia Sells became the first Chief Diversity Officer for the Metropolitan Opera in 2021. Marcia Sells became, Marcia Sells became the first Chief Diversity Officer for the Metropolitan Opera in 2021, charged with moving the Met Opera's diversity, equity, and inclusion programming in collaboration with all divisions of the Met. The Opera X is a shining example of her success in that endeavor. Organizations for which she has served with distinction prior to joining the Met include Harvard Law School, Columbia University, Dance Theater of Harlem, the NBA, now I'm impressed, and the Kings County DA's office. We call her phenomenal, and we also call her our next Vanguard Award recipient.
Thank you so much. I just want to point out, thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Juan. Brittany Logan is part of the long tradition of wonderful African-American singers in opera and the classical arts that goes long before this moment. Sister Sarita Jones had to go in the 1880s over to Italy in order to be a star, but she was born right here. So opera institutions might not have always thought that we were welcome, but we were doing this art form and have loved it for a long time. I just want to say that, and thank you, Brittany. I want to say thank you to the Malcom X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Memorial and Education Center. Thank you to El-Shabazz and your family, and for your work and your board to lift this space from what could have been just tragedy and trauma, the Audubon Ballroom, as a place of resilience, care, social justice shaping, and inclusion, and for this amazing and lovely award. I want to take a moment to also say I stand here because of two people, my mother and my father, Mamie Earl Sells, and Dr. Holloway Charles Sells, who you would think that how would somebody born in 1960 and only turning 5 on the date when my birthday was the 18th of this month, and only turning 5 at the time that Malcolm X leaves this earth. But I felt when I grew up like I knew him, like I had lived during that time of hearing him speak. And why is that? Because my parents said, you have to know the history, you have to know your stories. The autobiography of Malcolm X was not something I just read in school. It was a book on the shelf in our house that I could read at any time. I know this in terms of this history and this time and the importance of this place and this moment. I am grateful also, and I have to call out to my colleagues from the Metropolitan Opera, even some friends here from who I used to work with in the NBA and even the DA's office, and to my amazing family, my daughter and my husband, for being a part of this commemoration, more importantly, for this moment, and me just by extension. I am grateful that I have a history, too, with this place in particular. In 2004, when I was working at Columbia University, I had the opportunity to first meet Elisha and Malik. At that time, Columbia was trying to do its expansion plan, but the community said, before you can expand, you have to meet your other promises. And honoring one of those promises was working with the family to create the Malcom X and Dr. El-Shabazz Memorial and Education Center. To make this space, one, because Columbia University had owned this building, and it was key that and the then mayor, David Dinkins, says it will not just be something that Columbia, it belongs to the community, it belongs to this family, it belongs as a memory. And so to assist them in creating this with history and knowledge and conversation about what their dreams were for this place, I feel internally grateful, and thank you, Elisha, thank you so much. And then if things, when they say you don't know in terms of life, would continue to create intersections, when I joined the Metropolitan Opera as the first Chief Diversity Officer and General Manager, working with Peter Gelb and my wonderful colleagues who are here, and Chanel, Alicia, Yolanda, Julie Briley, to bring Malcolm X, the life and times of Malcolm X, to the stage, and to bring audiences in to let them know it's not that we're just doing this opera, that this is also the stories that are on this stage are your stories, and you should be here. We did an amazing durational reading of the autobiography of Malcolm X, 24 hours. We had people waiting at the door at 6:30 in the morning, ready to come in and hear this story. That was an amazing day. On October 29th, we had Leslie Odom Jr., Courtney Vance, First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright, Camilla Forbes, Chancellor David Banks, and El-Shabazz reading segments from the autobiography. I spoke to people who, prior to that moment, had not ever walked into the Met. They sat in the Grand Tier area and heard about a life that was transformed by his interactions with people and his love of Dr. Shabazz, Dr. El-Shabazz. A quote from the Shabazz Center that I love on my shirt says, "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today." Malcolm X and Dr. El-Shabazz were preparing for this future back in the 1960s. They may not have been here to see its fruition, and things that they had hoped for might not have yet been achieved. But with all of us pulling our weight and pulling on that arc of the moral universe to move it towards justice, we can see the future that Malcolm X and Dr. El-Shabazz imagined. And I just want to close with Dr. El-Shabazz's words that is a big challenge for all of us. "I wish you power that equals your intelligence and your strength. I wish you success that equals your talent and determination. And I wish you faith." I thank you very much for this honor.
We are going to really think for a second about what it means to not just uplift our community through education, but to uplift our community through art. We have to make sure that we are committed to the arts and engaging the arts and producing the next generation of artists. And that's another part of the work and the vision of this great center. So we always want to celebrate those incredible people. And there are more people who we want to honor. What does it mean to be fearless? Our next awardee must certainly know, because that's the name of the company that she co-founded. The Fearless Fund invests in a women of color-led company, many women of color-led companies that are seeking pre-seed, seed level, or Series A financing. Business surveys have determined that women-founded companies perform, y'all ready for this, 63% better than male-founded companies. Yet they receive 2% of the venture capital funding. They do 63% better, but only get 2% of the money. That sounds familiar. The Fearless Fund addresses the serious gap between the two things. It's a for us, by us effort that we have to support and honor. We are pleased to recognize the work of the Fearless Fund and to be inspired by its big ambition to move the needle for women-led businesses. Its dynamic CEO and founding partner is also a serial entrepreneur, a philanthropist, an angel investor, an author, and a PR and marketing specialist. We call her extraordinary. We call her visionary. We also call her our next Vanguard Award recipient, Arian Simone Reed.
The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. Malcolm X. And in true fashion, good evening, friends, and some enemies. My name is Arian Simone Reed. I serve as the CEO and founding partner of the nation's first venture capital fund that is built by women of color for women of color. Women of color receive 0.39% of venture capital funds, while making up over 20% of the U.S. population. Black women in particular receive even less than that, while being the fastest growing entrepreneurial demographic in this country. Prior to the Fearless Fund, a Black woman's average fundraise was $33,000. The Fearless Fund came on the scene cutting 7-figure checks to Black and brown women. As of today, we are facing a serious attack. We are in the middle of a federal lawsuit. We are inaugural defendants of one of the most defining lawsuits of our time. Conservative legal strategist Edward Bloom filed a federal suit against our companies, alleging that we are being discriminatory because we invest in Black and brown women. Conservative legal strategists and white supremacists are trying to make it illegal for us to do what it is that we do. But they won't stop. And guess what? They won't win. This award for me is personal. I was 11 years old when my family acquired the original manuscript of the autobiography of Malcolm X from Alex Haley's estate. I was 11 years old when Spike Lee put out a movie starring Denzel Washington titled Malcolm X. I was 11 years old when I went home from school and saw Dr. Betty Shabazz in my house. The teachings, the ideologies, the philosophies around entrepreneurship, Black entrepreneurship, impressed upon me greatly as a child. I understood our collective power. As a child, I understood our economic power. And as an adult, I will continue to fight for our economic freedom. Thank you very much.
You take it by yourself first. Let me give it a second. Tell people I know you. Yes, another round of applause for that sister. I could read, I promise. Struggling today, y'all. Here we go. Musician and band leader Duke Ellington famously said, "It don't mean a thing if..." That's right. African ancestor people live and move to the rhythm. We celebrate the seasons. We celebrate significant community events, rites of passage. Our most innate spiritual and cultural yearnings are all bound up in rhythm and sound. African drums link to our heartbeat and the pulse of our bloodstreams. It moves through our bodies and our collective psyche, and it is what has kept us alive and sane through some of the most dangerous moments in history. Our next performers exist at the nexus of African dance traditions and the Black experience in America. Their name is a blend of two West African deities, Sankofa from Ghana and Shango from Nigeria. Yeah, clap that up first, clap that up. And these performers use dance to evoke education and healing through ritual and through celebration. Please welcome the Kofago Dance Ensemble. Show these brothers some more love right here. And our sisters who tore it down as well, the sisters here. They did that. They did that, man. We are such a talented people, such a gifted people. And the gifts keep on giving. I want to move this program on, though. Let's talk about our next awardee, another extraordinary figure. Our next awardee led the team that closed and delivered the largest single asset project financing in U.S. history, $9.5 billion during a global pandemic, carrying the project through development, lease, and financial close, design, and construction. Have y'all been on a flight lately? Any of y'all? Some of y'all fancy. I know you came back from somewhere. I see your tan, Doc. Dr. Regina got the tan. I know you went to JFK. And if you go to JFK, you can see this brother's handiwork, the new Terminal 1 at JFK International Airport. Prior to taking our flying experiences up a notch, our awardee served as chair of CAG Holdings. And before that, he was president and CEO of the Dormitory Authority of the state of New York by appointment of the governor and confirmation by the state senate. He's also, I don't know how this brother got time for this, but he's also an adjunct professor at Columbia University, where he received a BA and an MA. Then he went and got a doctoral degree, too. And this person tonight gets one more honor, the most distinguished of all those honors. Please join me in congratulating and conferring this Vanguard Award to Dr. Gerard Bouchel. He got $9 billion. Let me hold something here. You good? You need anything?
I need a lot. I need a lot. Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Thank you, brothers and sisters. It is a pleasure to be with you. And thank you so much for this award. I want to thank Dr. Shabazz and the Shabazz Center Board for this incredible honor. And I also want to reiterate to Dr. Shabazz, thank you for you and your family's resilience, strength, and commitment, all right, over the years. You know, I've had so I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, but when my mother divorced my father, we moved to money earning Mount Vernon, okay? And so that's where I met your family and Dr. Betty Shabazz. So I met almost all of your sisters back in the day, and it is incredible to watch all of the work that you have done and continue to do. Thank you, sister. I think it is important to highlight, you know, when we walk in the shadows of great leadership and we walk in the shadows of Brother Malcom X, I would not have achieved what I have or even be here today without the work, blood, sweat, and the many tears. In fact, none of us would be here not for his work and the work of many of our forerunners. I also want to recognize my fellow honorees, Larry Miller, and my classmate from Columbia University, Marsha Lynn Sales. It is great to be with both of you in this moment of reflection and recognition. And I would say to Marsha, from our early days in Malcom X Lounge at Columbia University, it has been a long and challenging journey. We made it, but more work is to be done. And I am certain, Larry, you recognize the same thing. So my personal journey in all of this through the inspiration is I currently serve as the president and CEO of the new Terminal 1 at JFK, building an international terminal in the greatest city of the world. Thank you. But it's very important. I got my start as a community organizer in the 1980s. And again, I met your mother, all right, organizing in Brooklyn, all right? So that's very important. I was inspired by those who came before me. One of the key takeaways I learned, okay? And I got to the autobiography of Malcolm X late in life while I was in college, was the importance of reading and the knowledge that comes through reading and curiosity. I, like so many young black children of the 1960s, was touched by the brilliance of the autobiography of Malcolm X. But one of the practices I picked up from the autobiography and still live by to this day is reading the dictionary to better understand the power of words and how we use words to convey messages and meanings. The discipline that Brother Malcolm had of going through a dictionary and teaching oneself the power of language was and is not lost on me to this day. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Well, I probably shouldn't say brother because he was old enough to be my father. So, you know, but the heart is there. I will tell you, when I was at Columbia University as an undergraduate, I got to take classes under a legendary black scholar and civil rights leader, Dr. Charles V. Hamilton, the co-author of Black Power, The Politics of Liberation in America. Now, sadly, Dr. Hamilton passed away a few days ago. He was a product of the civil rights movement, and his teaching and his example inspired me to become an advocate here for my community and the city. It was in his class that I read many of the seminal texts on protest politics of the 1960s and the very, very important texts of the black radical tradition. It was Charles V. Hamilton who challenged me to read critically and analytically the autobiography of Malcolm X, to understand his humanity, not the myth, the humanity of the man, the individual, the father, the leader. So with Charles V. Hamilton's support, I got my PhD in political science at Columbia University, and I embarked on a career of working between public and private service, but always with an impact, always focusing on the pursuit of justice, always focusing on building my own independent franchise to never, ever be compromised. Dr. Hamilton's example and Brother Malcolm's example are so important in terms of the historic greats who came before all of us. That inspiration led me into advocacy, fighting for voting rights and empowerment for black people and other underserved and underrepresented communities across New York City, leading key initiatives in the labor movement at District Council 37, and later as president and CEO of DASNY, a leader in infrastructure development, local workforce, and strong minority, women, and business participation. So today, at the new Terminal 1, I am proud that I can continue to use my platform to put the values and work I learned into action, delivering on more than $1 billion of awards for MWBE firms and negotiating a project labor agreement. Thank you. Supporting strong local workforce participation across 37 zip codes in Southeast Queens. Black Southeast Queens. 37 zip codes. What we have done, what we are doing, will shape generations of residents in Southeast Queens, because that's Tier 1. Tier 2 is Queens. Tier 3 is New York City. That's all the folks in here, because we get there. And Tier 4 is the Port region. That's New York, New Jersey. And Tier 5 is the rest of the universe, because there are folks all over this great universe. But we're going to change the lives of people for generations to come. And that is an exciting experience. That is the commitment that we must all have in terms of bringing forward the legacies that we have inherited and making sure that we put that remit forward. So thank you to the Shabazz Center again for all you do to honor the memory and the humanitarian legacy of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz and all those who have paved the way for us in this present day. I do want to say my team is here, an incredible team, front and center. Thank you, Kim Hardy. Thank you, Patrick Askew, who actually presided over all of these murals when he was 26 years old, okay? He's battle-tested. Thank you, Quentin Braithwaite. And thank you, Candace Sandy, for your advice, leadership, and whispering in my ear every time you said, Gerard, I think you got it wrong. But that's important. And Candace, my heart is with you, because this is one of my last acts, all right, as president and CEO of the new Terminal 1. And 5 years of working through this project and delivering it, it is an incredible opportunity to have your trust, all right, and to have your support. I thank each and every one of you for that. And I must say, I must thank my wonderful and lovely wife of 27 years, Leah Johnson, who is with her father of 94 years old, who is recovering from pneumonia. So, you know, it takes us full circle, you know, when we look at our parents and they have taken care of us, and now we assume the responsibility to take care of them. And so we have all gone full circle. And so I'm here to tell you that I'm always in the battle for social justice. So I will appear not as a different vision, but in a different place. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
If you own a burgundy pickup truck, please move it. You are double parked in front of the Shabazz Center. Thank you.
Our next presenter is the president and CEO for the East Oakland Youth Development Center and an avid supporter of young leaders on the path to academic and career success. She's also a board member of the Shabazz Center, here tonight with a very, very, very important message. Please welcome Dr. Regina Jackson.
How's everybody doing? Yeah? We need to lift up the energy because we have to get in those pockets. So you got to get all that money that's going to fall out because we're jumping up to get it. But back to my script. Like all of you, I'm passionate about building the next generation of leaders. And that's why I'm always excited about the work that the Shabazz Center is doing and the potential for all it can do. I and my fellow board members, we're proud and we're dedicated to ensuring that the Shabazz Center continues to honor the legacy of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz. I am especially proud to stand by the leadership of this tremendous organization in our efforts to launch the 2024 Malcolm X Legacy Fundraising Campaign. Now, you all have to know that in the nonprofit world, community work is the most revolutionary work there is. But it doesn't get handled by itself. We're out there looking for $5, $50, $500, and add some more zeros. We can do it just in this room. I know we can. Now, our goal of raising $5 million is going to help the center stay open as an educational space with live and virtual programming. It will help us provide a safe affinity space for the culturally and historically curious. It'll allow for the center to host more events and truly embrace and serve a wider audience. We know that with the right support, we can achieve it. But we need you. The campaign will run from tonight through this time next year. So we got to get it going. And we're going to get started right now. If you know someone that reveres the legacy of Malcom X and Dr. El-Shabazz and wants to join the campaign, contributions can start anywhere. Who's got that $5? Or $5 million? That's just extra zeros. Any portion after that, and whatever level works for you. There are a few ways that you can give. So I need everybody to write this down, pull out your phones. We know you got them taking pictures. We're passing around baskets. We going to church, y'all. Passing around the baskets in the room for cash and checks. We've also provided pledge cards. They're on every seat. They look like, man, I'm about to cost money, not raise money. Sorry about that. You can use the QR code on the screen right there. You can visit the Shabazz Center website at theshabazzcenter.org. Now, we're going to take a minute to let you pull out those wallets. I was telling you to dig deep when we first started, remember? I don't know if you moved, though. Did you move? Pull out those wallets, pull out those phones. Let's get busy. $5, $10, $25, and there are some of you that let's be real. We can write 1,000 or more. But yeah, come help me.
I said, can I help you? Okay.
Yeah, we
just
got
sent it
the
to my
serious
assistant.
fundraiser.
I'm going to do 500. Who's going to match me in the room? Okay, Ben Crump is going to match me in the room. I got a grand too. You got a grand? Okay, here we go. Anybody else want to match us with $1,000?
Come on now.
Malcolm embedded his legacy.
Okay, Dougie Fresh is going to match us right here.
All right, Dougie.
Okay. Larry, you got us? You got that Jordan money, I heard. Okay, come up on the stage with us if you're going to match us. Eliasa said come up on the stage. This ain't my orders, it's her house.
Uh-oh.
Come on, Dougie. Come on, Larry.
Uh-oh.
Where did Ben go? Ben is up here right now. We got another 1,000 coming up right now. This is going to be the $1,000 stage. You doing 1,000 too? Thank you. Everybody up here is doing a grand. You got it. You got 1,000 too? Perfect. Perfect. Regina, I was going to have your back, girl.
Look, I appreciate
She
that.
said $5. Nobody raised their hand. I said, no, I'm going to have your back.
That's what courageous, fearless people do, right?
10,000.
You doing 10?
1,000 so we can get to 10.
He said we need 4 more thousand on stage so we can get to 10,000.
Some rich-looking people in here. Who want to give 10?
10,000.
I see somebody in this room that want to give 10. Raise
The
your hand
guy
if you
with
want to
$9
give 10.
billion already left.
Who want to give 10? If somebody give 10, I'll give 10.
it.
Who going to give 10? If somebody raise their hand with 10, I'll give 10. Who going to give 10? Can we get one?
If you raise your hand for 10, or if somebody raise it, you going to do 10?
Yeah.
I got your back. I'm doing 10.
All right. There we go. There we go.
There it is.
Who else got some? Can we see 5? Anybody want to do 5?
Wait, that's Eliasa asked. Go ahead, Dougie. Y'all heard y'all grew up together. She needs to hear from you.
I mean, look, this is how it works. If everybody does a little, nobody has to do a lot.
That's right. That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
So the key in this is to everybody give what you can and know that you're giving it for something bigger than you.
That's right.
And the other thing is that you can't take it with you. So it's better to use it while you're here than to have it all sit there when you're gone.
That's right.
And the last thing is, I said 1,000. Let's make it 2,000.
Okay, do that.
All right. Now let's see. Now whoever can do 2, let's do 2.
He said he gonna match it.
See that? See that? 2.
And match
2.
it again. And match it over here.
We got one right there. See that?
Two more. Mark, two right back here, too.
We got another 2 here. See what I mean? If everybody does a little, nobody got to do a lot. I'm telling you. In this room, you'll be shocked at how much you can create with everybody doing a little. One time a guy told me something, and you could try this at home. He said, you take a penny and you compound it for 30 days, and it'll be over $5 million. I couldn't even believe it. He said 1 penny, then the next day you do 2 pennies. 2 pennies, then you go to 4. 4, you go to 8. I did the math. Anybody got your phone, you can check it out. It's over $5 million. Very interesting. He said, and then that's what made me know that if we together collectively work and we all do a little, brothers and sisters, you'll be shocked at what the numbers are. Amen. Trust me, trust your brother.
They telling me the stage can't handle all this black, all this money on the stage is about to fall.
Okay. And we have to make sure. We gotta go for smaller amounts. We gotta go smaller amounts too.
Thank you.
Oh, he coming back up. I got it.
$30,000 pledges.
But family, I wanna be clear. I want to be clear, family, because I don't want you to think we just up here asking for money or just giving money. There is a purpose for and a reason for why this money is being collected. There's a reason why my broke behind is willing to donate. There's a reason why people who work very hard are willing to donate. It is because we are in a moment right now, and I need y'all to hear this. We are in an urgent moment, okay? I need y'all to understand that. This place is sacred ground. This is sacred ground. This is not just a community center. This is not just a building. This is the place where our heroes were slain. Malcom X was killed in this very room in front of his beloved wife and children. And instead of turning this into a site of pain only, this became a site of power and possibility. They reconstructed something that they thought they could kill. J. Edgar Hoover couldn't kill this tradition. COINTELPRO couldn't tear down this tradition. Our open enemies that thought when they killed Malcolm X right here that they could destroy the spirit of Harlem were proven wrong when this was resurrected and produced this thing that we looking at right here and right now. But understand, we are not doing this just to remember the past. We are here to build a future against the backdrop of a moment where they would prefer if none of us were in this room right now. You see, our open enemies, the people who created the context in the moment that required civil rights and human rights struggle, the very people who loaded the bullets into the gun and killed our heroes, our ancestors, our grandfathers and our grandmothers, the people who blocked our entry into school, the people who voted for laws to keep us out, they are now trying to block the schools from allowing us to learn what they did. So when we pull on the legacy of Dr. El-Shabazz and we pulling on the legacy of a lifelong educator who didn't go to the fancy white school, who went to Medgar Evers, who decided to invest in black institutions, to honor that tradition is to fight for a world where we can learn our history, where we can learn our truth, where even if they block the school doors, even if they close the libraries, even if they ban our books, it don't matter. Because we got our own. Because as Malcolm X was told when he first stood up inside of that prison, accept your own and be yourself. This is your own. And yourself gets produced by investing in community. And understanding, again, at this moment, I'm not talking about imaginary stuff, I'm talking about in this moment. They're trying to shrink your community. They don't want you to know what's happening in Haiti. They don't want you to see what's happening in the Congo. They don't want you to see the imperial counter-revolution in Sudan. And the last thing they want you to do is scream, free, free Palestine in this place. But Malcolm X wrote an essay in September of 1964 called On Zionist Logic. He stood up and gave a message to the grassroots, talking about the Bandung Conference, recognizing the fact that the only way we will succeed as black and brown people is if we are unified. Not unified as Baptists and Methodists, not unified as Christians or Jews or Muslims, unified as black and brown people who must organize and fight together to defeat a global network of oppression. So while some people uptown voting for the wrong bills, some people uptown supporting legislation to keep us divided, while some people are downtown trying to shut down these schools, some people in the biggest houses in this country trying to find more ways to lock us up. We gonna struggle. You know what, but Doug, my OG got it.
Let me tell y'all, in a summarized version of what he just said, how many of y'all from New York City in here? Make some noise. How many of y'all from out of town? Okay, real simple. You see, you try to put me on the spot, and you know I deliver. But listen to this. Here you go. Talk about peace, deceased ghetto stars. Funeral parlors filled with adolescent scholars. Out of anger, we get banged for less than $1. Strive for the day, my aspirations for tomorrow. Is uplift the youth and practice my preaching, and be remembered for my teaching. See, peeps and families in pain, and it's a shame. The tongue's the one thing that y'all cats can't tame. Bullet shot rain, and it's really no aim. The only thing changing the game is the name. No matter where you go, it all stay the same. If you was the greatest, then you supposed to entertain. Let the world know your name. Check it out. Lifestyle in the ghetto, bet your bottom dollar. Being broke will make you want to holler. Stop that nonsense, killing that senseless repentance. For sins live relentless. Friends back, went back for petty crumbs. Stress from, no funds. I got my mind made up. Come on, you could get it. Whether cash or legit, my fam's gotta eat. No time for the heat, getting caught up in the street. Seen too many chalk lines and white sheets. And if you don't take heed, you're doomed to repeat. So don't sleep. Now, check this out. We, the willing, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little that we are now qualified to do anything with nothing. And the last part is, off the show, cash and checks make sound effects, but I'm here today representing Malcom X. So let's do it, y'all.
Doug, Queen El-Hajj has asked you to do one song. He said, look, 6 minutes. Doug, you're like, no, really, I got 6 minutes. Come on. Our beloved brother's on his way, but get his brother another round of applause, man. Get his brother another round of applause. Family, this is what we're struggling for. This is what we're striving for. I know we started off, and then I'm going to move on to the rest of the program, but we started off asking for a lot of money because I ain't going to lie to you, we need a lot of money. We got a lot of challenges. We got a lot of programming. We got a lot of vision. And they'll encourage us to dream, but they won't fund our dreams. So we have to fund ourselves. We have to do for us, by us. So I'm not asking for tens of thousands of dollars. I'm going to hold off on the million for now. But who here can commit to giving a donation of not just, it's all a lot of money, of $250. Can someone commit to $250 to help us make this program? And yes, we got one here, we got one here, we got one here. Keep them hands up. I got a photographic memory. One here, one here, one here. We got three there. Just keep that energy. Keep it in your mind. We trust y'all. The point is that I want us to commit to ourselves and commit to investing in ourselves. It feels good to invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself, you will see the fruits of the labor in those beautiful children that came up here. You will see the fruits of the labor in the program that we're going to run all year long. Who here can commit to $100? $100. We got 15 in the basket right now. Who else? On 16, 17, 18. Look at that. That's that fresh show money. It's still got, that's what I'm talking. Yo, that's fresh money. I was told to get you up here by any means necessary.
You know, I could do this all night, right? But I'm trying not to do this all night. But let me see if you know a song. Let me see if you know this one. I don't know if it sounds right out there. Can y'all hear it good? My mic sound right. My mic sound right. All right, check this out. Tell me if you know this one. Lottie-dottie, lottie-dottie, lottie-dottie. Come on, nobody, I'm waiting for y'all. We're going to try this one more time. This didn't feel right in here. Something went wrong. All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3, and. Do I got to drop the mic one more? All right, here you go. Lottie-dottie. 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 Right? Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. Last one, if y'all know this one. You got what I sing it for Biz. Say what? Turn it up. I want to rock right now. I'm Rob Bass and I came to get down. I'm not. Milk is chilling. D is chilling. Engine number 9. Hotel, motel. It's all because of you. I'm feeling sad and blue.
Give another round of applause for the world's greatest entertainer. Man, I'm all turned around now. That's good, though. That's good, though, because this is what happens when we get together. Together, we create, we celebrate. And you see that improvisational genius, that skill that's honed with years of talent and training. That's the African tradition right there. And no matter how far Doug goes around the world, he always makes sure he comes back home. The child always returns, as the great Yoruba term omowale signifies, one of the names given to our dear brother, Malcom X. We are now going to move to our next awardee. If the spirit was not raised before, it is now, so we're going to keep that energy going. Imagine turning your life around from being involved in a gang and committing a murder at age 16 to later graduating from college and eventually becoming president of the Jordan brand at Nike. Talk about a resurrection. In between those points on his timeline, he served as an executive at Janssen, Kraft Foods, the Philadelphia newspapers, and as president of the Portland Trail Blazers of the NBA. I won't hold that against him. We want a Dame over here in Philly. Not only has he raised himself into a leader, he lifts those around him to collective success, the real measure of his value. We are proud to add to our roster of Vanguard Award winners, Larry G. Miller. My brother. Them sneaks is nice. What size you is?
Your size. I don't know how to follow that. I got asked Dougie to come here tonight, and I don't know how I have to follow him, but first of all, I want to just start out by saying thank you to Dr. Shabazz and the staff here, and this is like a real full circle moment for me, because not only am I humbled and honored by getting this award, but to get this award from the family of Malcom X and El-Shabazz, it's just, I'm almost at a loss for words. But when I was 17 years old, was when I read the autobiography of Malcom X. I was incarcerated at the time, and I remember clearly the day that I got the book. And inside the jail, there was a group of us that we were into reading. We loved to read, and I had gotten hooked on reading when I first got incarcerated. And I remember getting that book, and there were a group of us that kind of passed books around. And I remember getting it, going into my cell that night and starting to read. And the more I read, the more I wanted to read. And I remember the way it was the setup was there, at 10 o'clock, the lights would go out in your cell. And what I would do is get up to my bars, and the light shining in from the hallway, I would read based on that light. And I'm reading the autobiography of Malcom X, and I read about him doing the exact same thing that I was doing at that time, and that just blew me away. But what that book did was it really disrupted my life, because I was growing up in West Philly, in gangs, just a street kid, just somebody that was out in the street. And I wasn't thinking at all about the plight of our people. I wasn't thinking at all about the things that we were going through and had gone through. And reading that book disrupted my life, because it turned on a consciousness that I could never turn off after that. And not only a consciousness, but a desire to do something with that consciousness, a desire to help and to give back in any way that I could. And that desire and that consciousness has stayed with me from that time. And so to me, this is special. That book was extremely special. And like I said, it disrupted my life. There were a number of times that throughout the rest of my life, even after I read the book, that I continued to be into criminal activities. I continued to do things that I shouldn't have been doing. But all the time in the back of my mind, that consciousness never left me. I always remembered and thought about what Malcolm X's life had turned on in my mind. And like I said, I couldn't turn it off. And that led me to like I said, I stayed in the street, did a lot of crazy stuff, but at the back of my mind was this consciousness that I couldn't get rid of. And I know I'm not the only one that Malcolm's book and his life disrupted their life. I know I'm not the only person that happened for. I know there were plenty of people that that book actually turned on a certain consciousness that like I said, I could never, ever turn off after that. And I've been inspired by a number of people, again, Malcolm X's book, but also by a number of people that we stand on their shoulders, folks that have sacrificed everything for our people and for us to be able to move forward. And one of those folks that has inspired me as well is Dr. El-Shabazz. Just knowing about the dedication, the love, the determination to be the best that she could possibly be, that inspired me as well. So between the two of them, I know they've inspired me and they've inspired a number of other people as well. I don't know if you guys know this, but I recently decided to share my story. And it was a challenge for me to do that because for almost 40 years, I hid from that story. I hid from people knowing about my background and knowing about what I had gone through. But I owe a lot to my beautiful daughter who's sitting here in the audience tonight. It was because of her pushing and prodding and not nudging that I agreed to share my story. She gave me the courage to say, okay, I want to do this. And she convinced me that my story and sharing it could actually motivate and inspire some other people. And so, thank you, La. And what sharing my story has actually done for me is that it's allowed me to have a sense of freedom that I didn't have for the last 40 years. It's allowed me to be able to be my true self and express my true self without concern or worry about what might happen or worry about what I might lose. At this point, it's really freed me. Over those years, I had migraines and nightmares and all these things that I was concerned about, people finding out about my past. And there was a quote here that I wanted to read from Brother Malcolm. Let me see, where is that quote? Anyway, the quote really basically says that if you're an ex-criminal, then that doesn't mean that you have to continue to be a criminal. That you should be able to move forward with your life. And I've been able to do that. I've been blessed beyond my wildest dreams. Again, the support of family and loved ones. And family, when I say family, I mean blood family, but I also mean family that are people that I love, and through love and friendship, they become family. And there are a lot of those family folks in the room here today, in addition to some of my blood family who happens to be here today. And it was the support and love that was always there for my family that kept me going and kept me believing that I could really change my life and I could move forward and that I could actually make a contribution, not just to my family, but to the community and to the world. And like I said, that consciousness that Malcolm X's book put in my mind really is something that continues to drive me and continues to make me want to help and want to give back and want to do as much as I can to move our people forward and to help us to gain the things that rightfully are ours. I was not too long ago, I got an opportunity to go to Ghana, and I visited the slave castles in Ghana, which is amazing. If you ever get a chance to do that, it's absolutely worth doing. But the thing that, what I came away from there with that trip was, we are the descendants of the strongest of the strong. Only the strongest physically, mentally, and spiritually were able to survive. Only the strongest were able to survive marches to the castles, being confined in the dungeons, taking the trip over in the ships, slavery, all the things that our folks had to go through. But only the strongest of the strong survived. And that's the DNA that's in us. That's what we possess. And that's why, to me, whatever we get involved in, we excel at, because we've got DNA of those that survived the horrific things that they had to survive. And like I said, not just to survive it physically, but mentally and spiritually. And that's who we are the descendants of today. And I think if more of our young people realize that and realize the power that they have based on who they are, I think a lot of them would be looking at and seeing some hope in their lives. And I've heard a number of folks tonight have talked about the fact that, we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and that's absolutely true. And I know for a fact that I've been blessed, and I know that there are ancestors that are looking out for me. That's been the case all my life, and I realize that. And I just want to say to Brother Malcolm, Sister Betty, and all the ancestors that have helped us to get to where we are and that are going to help us get to where we need to be, I just want to say thank you.
Yes.
So once again, Dr. Shabazz, all the folks that are associated with the center, I want to say thank you for this incredible award, and I'm humbled and honored beyond belief. Thank you.
Give it up for Philly's finest. I'm gonna hand him his award right here. That's that Philly stuff. I took it. I ain't give it back. Yeah, I got one. A big part of what makes up the spirit of St. Louis is the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. And a part of that's right. You clap it up for the Urban League. We done had a long tradition of Urban League. And a part of the success of the Urban League in St. Louis is its Vice President of Development and Special Events, who, by the way, is our next awardee. Now, what exactly is development? Y'all seen some of it tonight. In the business world, it is fundraising, scoping out potential partnerships and wellsprings of financial and in-kind support so necessary for nonprofit organizations to fulfill their missions. Before this awardee's current tenure at the Urban League, he was the owner of Black Expo, Missouri's largest African-American empowerment event, for 23 years. He also served as regional sales manager for KMOV-TV. Seasoned in success, his life is a testament to his business acumen and his great heart for giving. Please welcome to the stage Vanguard Award winner Thomas R. Bailey, Jr.
He just told me to keep it to 2 minutes.
I whispered it.
Good evening, everybody. I got to tell you, This means the world to me. I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be here in New York at the El-Shabazz Center at the invitation of Malcom X's daughter, El-Shabazz, to come up here and share with you what we're doing in St. Louis. And so to summarize what we're doing in St. Louis, we're black people just like you are out there. And in St. Louis, we believe that black people should never, ever take a back seat to anybody. I don't care what color you are. But if you're black, you're just as good, if not better. And so I remember my father telling me in Dallas, Texas, which is where I'm from. You can tell by the way I talk. I'm from Dallas. And I'm sorry I don't sound like I'm from the East Coast, but that's okay. I didn't graduate from college, and I do know how to ask people for money. So you can make it in America with that. So I want to thank you, Ilyasa, for blessing the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, for you coming to St. Louis and sharing with us at our MLK Memorial Tribute, where we had her doing a fireside chat with Zenona Clayton. Y'all know who that is? Yeah. Zenona Clayton was Martin Luther King's personal assistant. So we felt that was a historic event, and we did that on the campus of St. Louis University. So we thank you for that, Ilyasa. The Urban League has been in existence for over 106 years. It was started because, you know, Illinois was a free state when the slaves got out and was released. And so when slaves were released, they went to Illinois because Illinois was a state that they could live in, and Missouri was definitely not. And so over in East St. Louis, Illinois, some white workers went out on strike for higher wages. And when that happened, one of their smart managers said, well, let's just hire some of these black folks. We can get them in here. We don't have to give them a pay raise. They'll be happy to get the job. So a lot of black people took that job, and guess what happened? All hell broke loose. Riots took place, and the East St. Louis race riots was one of the most devastating race riots in the history of this country, preceding the Black Wall Street and that massacre. Woodrow Wilson, the president, sent the National Guard in to help the black people. And some of those National Guard members turned on them and joined in with the white folks, and they were burning folks' houses. And when they came out, they were shooting them. So in 1918, the Urban League got started in St. Louis and has been there ever since. And since then, we have become the #1 urban league in the nation. There's 92 of them, and the Urban League movement is alive and well under the leadership of Mark Mariel. And we have a brother that is the president of the Urban League in St. Louis. And I like to tell everybody there's 3 Michaels that everybody should know in life. One is Michael Jordan, because what did he play? The other one is Michael Jackson, and you know who he was? And the third one is Michael McMillan, who is the president of the Urban League in St. Louis. And the only reason that everybody doesn't know about him, they don't televise what we do on TV, okay? But all day long, 52 weeks out of the year, the Urban League in Metropolitan St. Louis is trying to instill the belief in black, underserved, poverty-stricken people that you are just as good as anybody and you are deserving of all of the beautiful things that life has to offer. So some of the stats about us, and then I know I'm longer than 2 minutes, but I'll be through in a minute. So we're one of only 2 Urban League affiliates to serve 2 states. The other one that serves 2 states is right here in New York. They do New Jersey. We do Missouri and Illinois. We have 350 employees. How many of y'all know of an Urban League that got that many? Okay? We have 23 locations so that people can get to us from anywhere. We have 3 $10 million developments going on right now. And in 2023, we served 205,000 Black and people of color that were earning an income of $9,900 to $14,999 a year. So you tell me, can you live off $9,900 and live in a brownstone up here in New York or Harlem? You can't even do it in St. Louis, and our real estate is probably 70% lower than what it is here. When I got to the Urban League, we were doing $17 million. That's 7 years ago. We just did $50 million this year to be the biggest urban league. Thank you. So, but when we did that $50 million, that just let us, I know, I see you. All right. Yeah, but we did that $50 million and a whole lot of folks found out about us. They said, uh-oh, now we know where we could go. So even though we did 50, we need to do 60 or 80 or 100, and that's what our commitment is. So on behalf of the Urban League, the staff, the 80 board of directors, and the 5,000 volunteers that help us in St. Louis, just know that in Missouri, this organization, the memory of Malcolm X and El-Shabazz, is living on, and you have friends in Missouri. Thank you very much. Huh? Well, I just told him I raised $50 million.
Another round of applause. Yes, that's all yours. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage an extraordinary artist. And you've seen a lot of extraordinary artists tonight, and we got one more that y'all don't want to miss. I am pleased to welcome to the stage a singer, a songwriter, a poet. She does it all, and she goes by the name She Salt. Give her some love, y'all.
If you want something, you had better make some noise. If you want freedom, you had better make some noise. If you want liberation, you better make some noise. Here, in this place, in this blessed, sacred, holy space, where 59 years ago your life was taken in haste, was taken with hate, but Brother Malcolm, they ain't know. You can't kill what God has purposed. If you bury seeds, they'll grow, and that's power. 3:10, yes, that was your final hour, but your life is still speaking. Your words are still teaching, and though black people still are bleeding, and there are little signs of freedom, self-determination is the reason that we keep on believing we're seeing. There's a worldwide revolution going on. Black folk are tired of being indicted before we're even born. Palestinians are tired of being indicted before they're even born. Africans tired of being indicted before they're even born. Being buked and scorned, Lord, for having skin of a darker hue. Got a campaign for our humanity as we're trotting through, but still, who taught us to love ourselves? You. Who took our plight and then who flew? across the blue water so the world will know that the struggle is the same no matter where you go, from New York to the Congo, from Mississippi to the Congo, Alabama to the Congo, then back to the Congo, the Congo, because I was born in the Congo. From Mississippi to Belize, from Alabama to Kenya, it's the same. Please believe you declared this is not just an American problem. And it's up to all Africans to band together to solve them. Brother Malcolm, we thank you for your sacrifice, because ain't too many out here who would give their lives for the truth. Despite bombings and the public bashings, you still lived a life of courage and committed action, full of compassion, loving people, always staying in position, working overtime that we might see our condition. That was your mission. And there was no hate in your blood. Just steadfast, unmovable, boundless love and self-reliance. No, we don't have to live in compliance with racism, sexism, oppression, the violence against women. Brother Malcolm, you'd have something to say, because you rode with many sisters back in the day. Speaking of sisters, at this time, I'd like to pay homage to Dr. Betty, who worked night and day to preserve your legacy in a dignified way, and is the very reason we can assemble today. A mighty sister who raised your 6 daughters into queens, all the while becoming a doctor and fulfilling her dreams, turning tragedy to triumph. This place came to life. She said, find the good and praise it. And I know that's right. It's been 59 years and we still speak your name, Brother Malcolm, shining black prince who was slain. Let all the people in the place, if you will never forget, say amen. It's been 59 years and we still speak your name, Brother Malcolm, shining black prince who was slain. Let all the people in this place, if you will never forget, if you got some courage, why don't you say, cease fire. Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. Speak truth to power. Give that sister some more love. Another round of applause, please, for that sister. She's so. All right, y'all. As you know, over 30 states have introduced legislation to ban or restrict black history education and or critical race theory. And 18 now have that legislation on their books. Only 7 of our 50 states have not yet introduced legislation, but many of those have still banned books from black authors out of libraries and schools, including the autobiography of Malcolm X. Banning books and silencing black narratives and contributions is a trend across the country, but I submit to you that there is a silver lining. Have you noticed that as more black books are banned, the more people really, really want to read them? That's what I'm talking about, y'all. And right now, here in this majestic space, as we honor the legacy of our dear brother Malcolm X, we must remember what he told us. Brother Malcolm told us that we must educate our own children. That is the legacy of Malcolm X. And that is the legacy of our dear sister, the educator, the visionary, the brilliant, gifted Shazelle Muhammad. Please give her a round of applause, our Vanguard Award nominee.
Ashe, 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 oh.
just drinking in the moment. This is the space, this is the place that represents not only our past, our present, but also our future, y'all. It's interesting how, not a coincidence, but interesting how each of the speakers that came before me touched on the very thing I came to talk about, the transformational education of our youth. This is the time, as Dr. Mark Lamont Hill said, we need to educate our own children, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. He taught us that, he told us that, and what better moment than now to live his legacy. Thank you, Dr. Shabazz, for inviting me here. Thank you to the board of the Shabazz Center. Thank you to the board of African Link Initiative that I represent. My name, y'all, is Shazelle Muhammad. I'm the founder of African Link Initiative. It is an evidence-based identity development program for youth of African descent. Ali, or African Link Initiative, has 3 parts and culminates in a birthright trip to Ghana. If we don't go back and get it, that which is helpful, that which is useful in our past, in our identity, how can we move forward powerfully, y'all? We can't. And as Mark Lamont Hill said, 36 states, over 30 states now, have introduced legislation to ban or restrict Black history and or CRT. And they have banned books like this one, The Autobiography of Dr. Malcolm X, as told to Alex Haley. What I want you to know is that African Link Initiative has the honor, the privilege, to partnership with the Shabazz Center. And I'm here to announce to you a groundbreaking educational curriculum that we're launching here at the Shabazz Center, y'all. It is called Who Am I? Owning Our Education, Controlling Our Narrative. To paraphrase what Mr. Larry Miller said tonight, if only our children could know the power they have based on who they are. That's identity, y'all. And as descendants of enslaved people, we have an identity issue, but we can solve it. We can also solve it for ourselves and for our children. So we're launching a summer experience course this summer, a 10-week version of the year-long version that African Link Initiative does, and we launched in 2019, that culminated in a birthright trip to Ghana. This summer, we will educate, uplift, and give 20 teens in 9th to 12th grades a platform to tell their own stories here at the Shabazz Center. We're going to kick off with a one-day adult offering, adult workshop on Saturday, April 27th. So mark your calendars. I know you got your phones in your hands. April 27th, Saturday. We're going to spend the day engaging you in meaningful dialogue and reflection about the challenges, the joys, the complexities of African American identity development. So we're hoping you will do 2 things tonight. 1, enroll or sponsor a teen to attend the 10-week summer experience. And 2, enroll yourselves in the one-day adult session on April 27th. Now, I know you'll have more questions. I'm almost getting off the stage now. But each of you has a bookmark. On the back of your bookmark is a QR code. Scan this QR code to learn more about the April 27th session and our 10-week summer session. When we talked about earlier, Dr. Lamont Hill talked about earlier, we have to support our children, and supporting them is supporting the Shabazz Center. So please do those 2 things tonight. Join us and sign up. Sign up for yourselves. Sign up for your children. Sign up for the future. Invest in the transformational education of our youth. Thank you, and God bless.
The pen is indeed mightier than the sword, especially when it's wielded by our next awardee. His pen is a keyboard, actually. And his words ignite our minds and our spirits with courage, clarity, and a fresh and often daring perspective on current events in this country, especially when it pertains to racial justice. His latest idea is for people of color to take direct civic action by returning to the South to build a political majority in this country. Besides serving as a twice-weekly opinion columnist for the New York Times, a political analyst for MSNBC, an author of 2 books, both of which are amazing, by the way. His memoir was called Fire Shut Up in My Bones, which was adapted into an opera and premiered at the Metropolitan Opera in 2021, the Met's first performance of an opera by a black composer. This brother has been on fire for a long time. He's an HBCU alum. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, I might add. And he is the Shabazz Center Vanguard Award winner this year as well. Please give it up for my friend, my brother. His name is Charles M. Blow. Now, Charles couldn't be here this evening, but he sent someone much better. He sent his gifted, brilliant Columbia University graduate. Yes, he just be producing doctors and just brilliant people. He has amazing children who have brilliant vision, great mind, wonderful spirits. And we are blessed to have her receive the award on behalf of her extraordinary father who wishes he could be here with us this evening. Please give it up for Iman Blow.
My dad could not be here tonight, but he sends his profound thanks for this award, and he gave me something that he wanted to share with you all that I'm about to read. Part of what I do as a writer is to bear witness, to make the record, to say to the future that today has been memorialized. But the other part of what I do is to synthesize what I'm seeing, to make sense of it, and to make impact to it. In this way, language isn't simply a tool, it is a weapon used both offensively and defensively. And lastly, I focus most of my work on the vulnerable and the marginalized, those in need of defense and defenders. In short, my work is justice work, and I'm honored that you have recognized it, and I hope to continue to live up to that honor. He sends his thanks.
A photographer. Okay, Imani. We are getting toward the end of our program, and I appreciate everybody who has stood with us as we honor the life and the legacy of Malcolm X. We have an amazing keynote speaker here this evening. This brother is on fire, been on fire, gonna stay on fire, but I would actually ask Dr. El-Shabazz to introduce this brother. El-Shabazz, can you come introduce this brother? Because he's so important. He needs 2 introductions.
Yes, we do. We need 2. Thank you. We need 2 introductions, is right. We had a press conference here earlier, and I'm just going to acknowledge the family of Walter Bowe, Nandi, and Kaibo, his daughters. Come up here.
Hello, everyone. It's been so wonderful to be here. Being raised by Pan-Africanists, this is bringing my whole childhood back. But it's been really an honor to be working with Attorney Ben Crump and all of his fellow attorneys who are doing everything they can to bring justice to Ilyas's family, her sisters, her parents, and to bring the truth to the world about Malcolm X and the government's responsibility in his assassination.
You were supposed to tell us who your dad was. Do you want to, really quickly? Very quickly. Okay. And Khalil Said.
Sure. Our father, Walter Bowe, was a revolutionary, a Pan-Africanist who was a charter member along with my mother, Nanny Bowe, of the OAAU, and who were very influenced, obviously, by Malcolm X, and who worked alongside with him and would have continued to do so. Here present is also our godfather, Khalil Said, now known as Ramakrishna. He and my father were arrested the week of Malcolm X's assassination. And we are now looking at the conspiracy that was involved in their arrest and, of course, the assassination of Brother Malcolm X.
And by arresting him, what was accomplished?
So part of what was accomplished, Khalil Said was someone who, after the bombing of Malcolm X's home, was on security detail nightly, among other people. And my father was someone who would always attend every speech, as would my mother. And my father, who was a double black belt, was also someone who would have provided protection. And so what we're coming to learn is that arresting them days before the assassination was part of a plan to make sure that Malcolm X was as unprotected as possible. So now Khalil Said and my father, who is not present here but who is still living, are sharing their truth and also looking for justice, both for the Shabazz family and for themselves.
And I'm also going to just acknowledge Queen Mother Reverend Hashali. I didn't see her. Indira Howard, who is with the mayor's office. But we love you, Indira. Where are you, darling? Did she? Okay. Khalil Said, could you just stand up, please? He was just a young man when he was protecting my father's home. I'm going to acknowledge Dr. Frank Flores, Reverend Frank Fraley, Jeremiah Osu, Cleveland Browers, India Howard, the mayor's office, Hank Carter, philanthropist, wheelchair, charities, William Liverman, are you still here? Will Liverman, Where is he? Oh, Will Liverman is the brother who played Malcolm X in the Malcolm X opera. He did a really good job. Kirsa Chin, NBA Players Association, Dougie Fresh, Dougie Fresh, the legend. Our final speaker of the night is well known as a lion in the courtroom, a megaphone in the media landscape, and a shoulder to lean on, especially when the power structure is against you and you feel all alone and vulnerable. Because of his dedication to justice, the families of Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, Martin Lee Anderson, Breonna Taylor, Malcolm X are able to have a voice and help change the landscape of civil rights. He was a Vanguard winner, award winner last year, and is back tonight as our keynote speaker. It is my privilege to present Attorney Ben Crump.
Thank you. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Give another round of applause for our queen, El-Shabazz. You know, my heart is heavy because earlier today we had a press conference and we really put forth the case, Mark Lamont Hill, speaking truth to power. 59 years ago today, Malcolm X was shot 17 times in front of his wife with her little girls who were present in this world and 2 that was inside her stomach. 21. And they shot 21 times. They alleged that he was hit 17 times. On February 21st. Thank you, Elias. And it is so profound that Brother Malcolm, who was one of the greatest thought leaders of the 20th century, kind of predicted things that would happen to him. He talked about he was constantly under death threats. He said, and note this, Malcolm said that they will pay one of us to kill us just so they could say it was us. When we know the people who put them up to this could never wash the blood off their hands. And try as they may, Attorney Nabi Hashir, we continue to get closer every day to the truth, and we will not stop until we find out exactly everyone who was behind those who put the bullets in the gun that shot Malcolm X in this Audubon theater. You all understand, we know that Bradley was one of them. He was the one with the shotgun. But yet, he was never arrested. And we know they arrested 2 innocent brothers and put them in prison for over 20 years because they were trying to conceal the truth. And then Bradley, 4 years after, he shot Malcolm with a shotgun in this very room, committed a bank robbery, and he and his accomplice were arrested. His accomplice was sentenced and served 25 years. But Bradley was allowed to go scot-free. So it is no doubt to us when we continue to press the federal government to say, release the memos, release the surveillance tapes, release the reports that you have on Malcolm X, that they won't do it because we know somewhere in those reports it's going to talk about Brother Bradley. Remember what Malcolm said, they will pay one of us to kill us so they can then say it was us. Brothers and sisters, the truth shall set us free. Malcolm X said, I am for truth, no matter who tells it. I am for justice, no matter who it is for or who it is against. I am a human being first and foremost, and as such, I am for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole. I say that as I look at Khalil Saeed, a brother who was only 22 years old, a Howard University student, who because of his association with your father, Ilyasa, was framed, arrested, and convicted and imprisoned, as well as Walter Bowe, Nandi and Kai's father. And thank God that they're still living here today in their 80s and 90s, but yet they are here on this earth, and I believe God left them here for a reason, to help us get to the truth. And we can never say thank you enough for your sacrifices. Never can say thank you enough. We had a lot of keynote speeches, so I'll be very brief in making my arguments tonight. We know that there were people responsible for orchestrating Malcolm's assassination. We continue to get more and more information. Attorney Shearer and Kareem, what did they tell us? We have been pushing the federal government to give us the files, the COINTELPRO files. We have been doing FOIAs, and they keep coming up with excuse after excuse. One of the excuses were it would be a violation of privacy because Malcolm X may still be living. Am I correct, Attorney Shearer? Potentially living. I'm hardly ever speechless. I was speechless when they sent that back to us. Hey, game recognized game. So the question is not just who was behind it, but it really is why did they do it? And that would be the nature of my very brief argument to you this evening. And it is because Malcolm X personified black history. Dr. El-Shabazz personified black history. His life was the very principle of black culture personified, black self-determination personified, black community personified. And so when you think about how he understood how important history was, because if you did not know your past, you wouldn't understand why things are here like this in the present. And so Malcolm X understood what Carter G. Woodson understood, that it was about us controlling our own minds, our own thinking, about self-determination. It wasn't just enough to be freed of the shackles from our wrists and our ankles, but it was about Arian Simone freeing the shackles of our mind so you can start a fearless fund, so you can do great things for the community. That's what Malcolm understood. Malcolm understood, like Carter G. Woodson, the father of black history, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to tell him to stay here or to go yonder. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to send him to the back door. When you control a man's thinking, he said that they will go to the back door without being told. In fact, he said that if there is no back door, that they will cut one for their own special benefit. And so Malcolm understood we had to control our thinking. Malcolm understood what black history was. He understood that if our children understood who they were and their self-worth, that they would refuse to be defined as inferior. And so when we think about today, why they are attacking black history, I mean, think about it. In states like Florida and Texas and Tennessee and Virginia, they won't allow the teaching of advanced placement African American history. They will allow Mark Lamont Hill, they will allow every other advanced placement history. I mean, Italian history, Japanese history, European history, every kind of history, but it's a danger when it comes to African American history. You have to ask yourself why they don't want to teach African American history. We're talking about African American literature. I never would have believed that they would be having censorship in the United States of America in 2024. I mean, I'm suing Ron DeSantis over and over again in Florida because they keep trying to deny our children to be able to know their history. I mean, they have it during Black History Month. And I'm sure Mark covered this on the grill, but they had it where parents had to sign permission slips to be able to read black authors during Black History Month. Can you imagine? I mean, they're banning our most celebrated black authors. Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. Alice Walker's The Color Purple. James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain. Well, we better go tell it on the mountain. I mean, I'm for real, y'all. They even banning white authors who talk about black humanity. Arian, they banned Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird because she there talked about black humanity. They even are talking about we can't have any programs that encourage diversity, equity, and inclusion. Can you imagine? That's why they sued Arian. That's why they sued her. And it's ludicrous why they sued her. I mean, she was fighting for women, specifically black women, to finally have a seat at the table. That's all she was doing. In these billions and billions of dollars of venture capital fund, she and the Fearless Fund were able to raise $100 million to help black women who have founded businesses, to give them grants. And because of her efforts, they, being women of color, were getting 0.035% of the venture capital money out there. Less than 1%. And Edward Bloom said, oh my God, we got to sue those black women. They're going to make it where white men are going to just be left out in the cold. White men are not going to have a chance. I mean, think about that, Dr. Blow. White men got 90% Black women got less than 1%. And he said, oh, ring the alarm. We got to sue those black women. We got to stop them because black women are going to take over and white men aren't going to be allowed to eat. Oh, we should all feel real sorry for white men. I mean, it's ludicrous when you think about it. Because they don't want diversity at the table, because they fear us young disciples of Malcolm X, us black people who will be able to practice self-determination. And that's what is at stake here. I never thought that diversity would be under attack as being something not good. In 2024, we're saying we don't want diversity. I remember Reverend Jesse Jackson said it best when he was talking about they argued before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. They said that if we let blacks and Hispanics play Major League Baseball, it would bring down the quality of the game. When in reality, we didn't know how good baseball could be until we let everybody play the game. That's what Arian Simone is trying to do. She's trying to let everybody play the game. And for that, they fear us. Malcolm understood it 59 years ago, and that's why they had to take him out, because they fear us when we say that we are going to engage in self-determination. And so, in conclusion, the self-determination is really about looking to the past and helping us focus on the future. That's what it's about, having upstream thinking. And Malcolm was evolving to a higher level. He had upstream thinking. There's a great book, Upstream is the title of it. And the crux of the book, as I try to take my seat, is simply this: that there was a young brother walking downriver one sunny afternoon, minding his own business. And all of a sudden, he heard a young black child in the river start to scream, help me, save me, help me, I'm drowning, I'm going to die, help me, save me. And the brother all of a sudden jumped into the river, and he caught the young black child and he dragged him to the riverbank, and he got him to safety. And he said, thank God that I was there. If I would not have been there, this young black child would have died. And just as he started to gather himself and get the water out of his hair, he heard a second black child say, help me, I'm drowning, help me, I'm gonna die, save me. And then the brother jumped in the river all of a sudden for a second time. And he got the young black child, the second one, and he dragged him to the riverbank. And he saved his life. And then he got the water out of his hair, gathered himself, said, thank God I was there, or the second black child would have died. But as soon as he could gather himself, he heard a third black child say, help me, I'm drowning, help me, I'm going to die, save me. And so the brother jumped back in the river a third time to save the third black child. And as he dragged the third black child to the riverbank, this time he said, what I want to know is who the hell upstream keep throwing our black children in the river, because it's too late to save them all when they get downstream. So what Malcolm was saying, we got to go upstream to prevent them from throwing our children into the school to prison pipeline. We got to go upstream to be able to prevent them from getting our children caught up as the prison industrial complex. We got to go upstream to keep our children from getting caught up in a cycle of gang violence. We have to go upstream to keep our children from getting caught up in drugs and being one of those statistics that are forever marginalized as underclass citizens. That's what Malcolm understood. A people who are self-determined will be proactive in preventing their future from being contaminated, from being destroyed. And that's what Malcolm was teaching others, and that's why he was so dangerous. Malcolm understood it. If you remember nothing else that I say tonight, Malcolm understood it, that the enemies of equality cannot win this war as long as we make sure that our children are more intelligent than those who will seek to oppress them. And that's why they had to take Malcolm out. And that's why we must fulfill Malcolm's legacy, because you can kill the revolutionary, but you cannot kill the revolution. God bless you.
Everybody, please give another round of applause for Attorney Benjamin Crump. This brother is no joke. Y'all heard him. He's on. I told you he stay on fire. We winding down tonight, but I just want to say to Attorney Crump, just thank you for being there for us. He shows up all the time. Even when the camera's not rolling, he's there with us, fighting for us. Every case don't make the headlines, but every case is important to him because he loves us and he fights for us. And we're going to keep standing with him. By the way, this place looks amazing. Doesn't this place look amazing? Now, this place is amazing every day, but tonight, if you see the flowers, the food, all of it, give a shout out to Sabine Poisson for making the magic happen. Sabine, you here? She left already. Oh, there she go. Yo, come on, at least stick your head out there. At least stick your head out. Show the people. This sister is amazing. Give her a round of applause. All right, family. Now I know we gotta go. Oh, you know what, Sabine? Come on, show the people your face. Show the people. Show the people. Let the people see you. Come on up, Sabine. I ain't gonna make you get no speech, but tell me this: if people need this amazing kind of, how can people get a hold of you if they want this kind of amazing stuff? Through Ilyasa. Okay. Okay, that's the bodyguard. I love it. Thank you for making this. This looks beautiful. This is amazing. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. It's important. It is important. You're important. Everybody give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. Of course. Now, family, we're going to close out this evening. And we want to close this circle with prayer on this 59th commemoration of Malcolm X. So please welcome to the stage Imam Ali Jabir. The Imam's father led the funeral for our dear brother Malcolm, and his family continues to be part of this beautiful legacy. Please give him a round of applause.
I'll be very brief. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do y'all recognize me? No? You don't? The scarf, the coat, the hat? Oh, come on. Oh, my goodness. He wore a black one. Okay? I'm just going to say something very briefly. There is a verse in the Quran that says, لا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون. He says, don't count those who were slain or die or killed in the way of God as being dead. Nay, they are alive. Okay, but you can't perceive it. You can't feel it. There's another verse that says, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. That the Almighty does not put a burden on anyone that they cannot bear it. So Malcolm was born in the nick of time. There's no one here that could bear the burden that he bared at that time. And I was 12 years old at the time. That'll let you know how old I am. Okay? And I'm going to say a small prayer, which usually we say for those who have passed and gone away. And we know that the best death is one who dies a martyr. And I hope that one day that I can follow in those footsteps to die a martyr, because there's nothing worth dying for worth much of anything, is it? Islam defines a martyr as one who gives every conceivable effort to correct abuse, to relieve oppression, and they give their life in the most horrible way sometimes for that cause. So a martyr is one who gives their life in spite of everybody around them, their families and their loved ones. They're driven, and I don't know what that is until I cross over myself. So, and at the end of the prayer, we're going to, all of you who know the surah, Surah Al-Fatiha, it is the mother of the book. We can recite it with me. But we're going to recite to those who have gone away. May Allah bless them and may He give them the highest paradise. And then we're going to say Surah Al-Fatiha. ربنا فاغفر لنا والذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا الذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم. Okay. I didn't know I had that much. This is my sister. My name is Imam El-Shabazz. Because we climbed the heights together. We went to Hajj together, her and I. Wonderful person to travel with. Well, she's a soldier. Also, I was given the opportunity to do the janazah or the funeral for her late sister, Malik, and that was a pleasure. And I'm always honored to do that. Also, my father and her mother and all of those, we were like family. And I think that I don't know, we may be from from a different mother, but we may be the same, I don't know. He may be my father too. Don't I look like him? And lastly, there's three things that you leave when a person passes away that continues. And that's sadaqatun jariyah, is a continuous charity, or ilmun yuntafu bihi, or some knowledge you leave some person, library, a scholarship, or have you, or waladin salihan yad'ula, or a daughter or a son that continues to pray for you, that you be raised, that your grave be put light in your grave, that be made spacious, that you be rest and be raised up on the highest level. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Assalamu alaikum.
At this time, Reverend Frank Fraley from the First Baptist Church of White Plains will present flowers to Dr. El-Shabazz.
There we go. Oh. I think the mic is yours, my brother.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of everyone in this space, sister, on behalf of everyone who is affected by what happens in this space, we present these flowers to El-Hajj tonight because a living legacy lives because the people who live keep it alive. She keeps it alive for us. And thank you is not enough. Beautiful flowers are not enough. Standing with her is what is required. So we stand with you tonight, and we present this to you tonight as a symbol of our solidarity. We love you, and we thank you.
Another round of applause for El-Shabazz. Yes. We want to give our thanks as we wind down the evening for real, to all of our award winners, all of our performers, all of our presenters. I also want to give thanks to the Shabazz Center board members. There are so many people who make this work happen every single day. They don't come up on this stage. They don't always get their name shouted out every day by the newspapers, but they do this work because they believe in the Shabazz Center, they believe in the mission, and they believe in the legacy of Malcolm X. So we want to shout them out, too. I also want to thank our local, international, and virtual community supporters, everybody out there who's watching here in this room and all around the world. We can't do this work without you. Everybody, this has been the 59th. We look forward to seeing you next year for the 60th. God bless you. We'll see you later. Peace.